Welcome to the Popish plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
Today, we are going to be discussing Saint Michael, the Archangel.
Specifically, the resurgence of praying the St. Michael prayer at the end of Mass. Now, in the book of Jude, there's this very fun passage where St. Michael is disputing with the devil for the body of Moses. Because we know that Moses didn't enter the Promised Land because of his disobedience, but we also know that he's a solid chap. So the devil wanted his body, probably did terrible things with it, and St. Michael's like, no, you can't have it, and they disputed over it. Good times. Anyway, in the late 1800s, Pope Leo XIII had a vision. I believe it was during Mass, but I probably should have checked that beforehand. But
it was either during Mass or it was right before or something, because I remember there was a frenzy of writing that he did, and then he said, this is this new thing that,
So he had a vision wherein the Lord gave the devil essentially free reign to run about the earth, causing mayhem and destruction and whatnot for a century. And after that came the 20th century. So, yeah, check. That seems to have come true.
Yeah.
And so, in response, he composed the St. Michael prayer. And a series of other prayers that were then inserted after the Mass, after the Low Mass, as the Leonine prayers. Now, these were officially suppressed in 1964 during the Second Vatican Council.
Well, I have to say, the long version of the St. Michael's prayer takes forever.
That's the thing about 19th century prayers. They're all super, super long.
I know. And,
That's why the church needed reform.
And it's hard enough getting people to stay till the actual end of Mass. To then go and throw something on the end of Mass?
Well, growing up, we had a Polish priest who did a rosary after Mass, immediately after. He didn't do the walk down during the closing song. It's just we did a verse and then this. And I swear his rosary had 11 beads for each decade. Well, me and my sister would be like, that was 10, wasn't it? Why are we still doing a Hail Mary?
We're just going to take a quick aside here. When is Mass over, Nate?
I was always taught that at the point at which the priest reaches the back of has processed out of the church.
Correct.
Mass is effectively over. The deacon goes and says Mass is ended, but there's the procession out.
That is correct. So I will simply say,
He's holding us hostage.
If your priest is holding you hostage, that is clericalism, and that's wrong.
Also, while we're on the subject, if you don't stick around long enough to at least see your priest walking back down the aisle, you're leaving Mass too early.
You're doing a variant of the Judas Shuffle.
Especially if you don't at least wait for the blessing. Why would you leave before you receive a blessing?
All right, but we're talking about St. Michael's prayer.
Yes. Stay on target. But, especially in light of the recent unpleasantness, there has been a resurgence in interest in the St. Michael prayer. Now, I first encountered this by now Bishop Gerald Vinke of Salina, Kansas. When he was the pastor at a local church, he started introducing this. At the end of Mass, they would pray the St. Michael prayer, a Hail Mary, and then after the intercession of St. Joseph. Because the parish is Holy Family, so they were asking for the Holy Family.
Yeah.
Yes, but in our own Holy Redeemer does the St. Michael prayer after daily Mass, and then if you sit in the wrong spot, you're stuck doing a rosary with all the old ladies.
But
they will not move!
I can't help but think that this is an entirely laudable thing. St. Michael is an extremely powerful archangel who leads the armies of heaven and cast Satan out of the heavenly realms to earth. Defeated the great red dragon, the ancient serpent.
He defeated him once. He'll defeat him again.
So, couldn't we all use a little more intercession by St. Michael the Archangel?
I think so.
Yeah, and we always say the short version, which is reasonably long.
We here at the Popish Plot are thoroughly modern folk, so whenever we reference a prayer, we're referencing the short version. And we'll put a link to the short version down in the notes below.
Well, I'm just saying, for the ladies group, we do the Litany of Laredo.
Wow.
And at a certain point, we're like, are you just thinking of any title you can make for Mary?
Do your meetings ever end?
Yeah. They usually only last 2 hours.
See,
Most of which is the litany.
see, I personally, I like praying, and this is going to get me into trouble one of these days. I know it is. But the litany for humility.
I prayed for humility once. I barely survived it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Horrible things happen to you every time you pray for it. It is very effective.
It's very
You're
effective.
like, I want to be humble. Be humble in this.
Be very
I changed my mind. I do not want to be humble.
be very careful what you pray for, because the Lord is generous.
I don't want to think highly. I don't want to be thought highly of. All right. Well,
Done.
this guy's going to be thought highly of instead of you.
And then jealousy comes up. Yeah, never ever pray for patience. I did that once. It darn near killed me.
One time, a person that I was sponsoring for RCA asked for patience for a prayer, and I'm like, "Are you sure?"
This
And
is
she's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Are
Okay.
you really sure?" Because God will give you lots of opportunities to be patient.
and again, that's a whole nother episode in and of itself.
Yeah.
We all want the thing from God. We just don't want the way
We
that
want
he's
it now.
We don't want the way that he's going to give it to us.
Exactly.
So, we invite you, especially as we prepare for what would otherwise be the Feast of the Archangels, to look into the prayer of St. Michael, to make it part of your prayer life, and, if possible, to see about introducing it in your own parish. St. Michael the Archangel,
Pray,
pray
for
for
us.
us. And until next time, remember to
Live your faith.
Love your faith.
share that love.
No, really. Like, she's like, "I want patience," and I'm like, "No, you really don't want me to pray for you to have patience."
Are you sure? Oh yeah, I'm sure. No. Are you
sure?
sure?